Did employees for the VA knowingly destroy medical records so that requests for backlog medical exams could be done away with? It's a shocking claim in an investigative report by thedailycaller.com, which uncovered the following audio in November of 2008, a meeting that appears to back up that claim. Watch this and listen carefully.
Why are we scheduling orders 5 years back? I'm still canceling orders from 2001.
Anything over a year old should be canceled.
Should be canceled or scheduled?
Canceled, because they wouldn't let us do a mass purge. So it's just a matter of getting in there and canceling them ourselves.
Pete Hegseth served in Iraq and Afghanistan, CEO of Concerned Veterans for America. Pete, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
I imagine this stuff makes your blood boil, and I know the issues you've had with the VA and all that stuff. A simple question here. What would the intention be to destroy records of patients?
Well, there's one direct intention, which is, hey, these are appointments that are so old that they're no longer relevant. Someone has passed away. That's one. But the more nefarious intention here, and you heard them say anything over a year should be deleted, is that bureaucratic incentives for bonuses are tied to incremental improvements on wait times or that backlog. So for them to have medical requests pending and waiting counts against them per their internal metrics.
Wow,
so rather than build a plan to address it.
Pete, that is insidious. If you're destroying the records of veterans to improve your own possibility of promotion, I mean, that's just wrong.
Bill, it's all the bureaucratic incentives are pointed in the wrong direction. And when you have administrators or bureaucrats forgetting who they work for and very clear, not held accountable, it's nearly impossible for a manager at VA to be fired, but bonuses are given out on these basic metrics. You've got a lot of incentives to fudge wait time numbers, paper over the backlog, and in this instance, delete records. And I know from people who are directly related to this, people who, and not just people who were mistakenly on the list, who had medical appointments and were waiting, were deleted, and therefore they don't know anymore, and they're not seen.
Even if you destroy the records of these veterans, their cases have not gone away. I mean, there's still patients, in a lot of cases, I would imagine, who still need help.
But absolutely, and these are diagnostic tests. And the one example of the person that contacted me, his friend nearly died because he never got a diagnostic test, waited so long at that very Los Angeles hospital where this occurred, or medical facility where this occurred. So you've got real people on the other end waiting, not knowing, and this is indicative of this department, the Department of Veterans Affairs. They're so overwhelmed.
This is specific to the LA office, is that right?
Well, there's L.A., there's Dallas. This audio came from the Los Angeles office where they were getting 3,000 requests for medical appointments a month and could only schedule 800. So you can imagine if you're adding up 2,200 veterans per month who are not being seen, that grows very quickly. And if you're deleting everything older than a year, you're going to catch people who have been waiting longer than a year.
Is the suggestion that the L.A. office is the worst?
It's one of the worst. And when you look at, this is the medical facility side of waiting to be seen. There's the disability claims backlog as well, where veterans are waiting a year or a year and a half just for a response. So this is one of the worst. The problem is, if you live in Los Angeles, you don't have a choice to go elsewhere. You can't go to a private facility. You can't go to a different VA facility. So the veterans in Los Angeles are stuck with this environment where they're waiting months. Think about this, months for a colonoscopy, which could expose cancer.
We did a story about a week ago. There's a push in Congress to allow, I guess, more flexibility to fire executives at the VA who perhaps some folks don't believe they're doing their job. Now, where is that today? And who ultimately would decide whether or not an executive at the Veterans Administration keeps their job or not?
The Secretary of the Veterans Affairs, Eric Shinseki, would decide that. The bill is called the VA, the Veterans Management Accountability Act. It's House Bill 4013, I believe, or 2013 in the Senate, 4031 in the House. Jeff Miller, chairman of the House Committee, is carrying it in the House. Marco Rubio carrying it in the Senate, and we're getting initial indications there's a lot of support for this. How could you not support empowering the Secretary to fire managers, which is nearly impossible right now, Bill, because of the impediments and
well, who would be
these people should be treated like folks
who would be against that?
I don't know who could be against that. I think there are those who would say, well, these are workers' rights. But look at something like the Department of Defense. The reason some of the problems that were had there have been addressed is because people can be fired, senior managers can be fired there under particular circumstances. The VA Secretary doesn't have that power. These employees should be at will and should be held accountable for performance. Right now, they're not, and so therefore, why do you fix this? You purge documents as opposed to fix a process.
Speaking of termination, the person who leaked this audio, was that person fired?
Pushed out. It was a Marine who said, I won't do this to my fellow veterans. He was he exposed it to the IG office, was shuffled around, eventually forced to accept a payoff to go away. He was effectively fired for blowing the whistle on this.
It's not right. We're going to stay on it. Pete, thank you for your time. Pete Hegseth out of Washington. Thank you. Martha.